college am I going to go to? What university am I doing? What program? Blah, 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 blah. And like, at that stage of life, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing, right?
No, most people still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, people still don't know what you're doing.
You know, the spec work that we do isn't for the next month. It's for the next 6 months and years later when people find it.
Yeah, not even years out. Everybody really expects the outcome to be in maybe 2, 6 months or even to a year. But realistically, we're only reaping the rewards of all the work that we put in 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah. You gotta love the game. You gotta you gotta really be into this and obsess over this, because even if it's not a huge obsession right now, you better learn to find something to obsess about within it.
A lot of people, say the reason they're not working is because there's not work. And I'm sorry, you're not passionate enough for this. Like filmmaking, any creative industry, it takes a special breed of people to do it.
Over the last 4 years, we've built Tenfold Production to work with some of the biggest brands in the world, sell projects for over $150,000, and gotten us to a place where we actually love and enjoy the type of work that we're doing and continue to do. So if you're trying to get to that place, or you're just trying to break over certain hurdles, like you want to do better projects, you want to work with bigger brands, you want to raise your rates. And so today we're talking about and showing you guys the exact path and the things that we would do in our 20s that we didn't know until later in our life. And these are the life lessons that we've learned. So let's dive right into it. Number 1 is taking big bets on yourself. So in most cases, the downside for trying different things here is pretty low. Like you're just getting into your 20s, you're getting into your 30s, or you're still young. Even if you're transitioning in your 40s, it's the same thing. It's like you still need to take big bets on yourself, especially in film, for people to actually find you. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I feel like the most important thing that you can have is confidence in yourself and making bets on yourself, because when it comes down to it, it's your life, your decisions. And if you believe in things that you can do and make those risks, the bigger the reward will be. And then a really good thing that you said is like in your 20s and 30s, you feel like that everything matters. It does. It truly does. Even with the decision of, doing post-secondary education. What college am I going to go to? What university am I doing? What program? Blah, 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 blah. And like at that stage of life, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing, right?
No, most people still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, people still don't know what you're doing. And then I know that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later. But the thing is that you have to make a bet on something. Yeah. Or you're just going to sit around and everybody's going to leave you in the dust, right? And when it comes to filmmaking specifically, I feel like everything has to be a bet on yourself.
Yeah. Really, regardless, it's going to be hard, right? It's like, It's going to be a lot of work to do good work, or it's going to be really hard to not do good work either. It's going to be hard and it's going to suck regardless. But it is cool to think about giving yourself the actual winning chance. Because if you don't have that belief in yourself in the first place, then you're never really going to give yourself the shot. You're never really going to take big leaps and leaps of faith that will actually push you to that next place. Mm-hmm. And there's this expectation that things have to happen in the next 2 months or whatever.
Never.
It's it's a long-term game, right? We knew going into this is a long stretch of our life. These are things that we want to continue to do in the long term. We have to think about that and how we make our decisions as well. That, the spec work that we do isn't for the next month. It's for the next 6 months and years later when people find it.
Yeah, not even years out.
Years out, yeah.
Yeah, because then even when I think about it, how we went into running a video production company and being a cinematographer, director, whatever you are in this, everybody really expects the outcome to be in maybe 2, 6 months or even to a year. But realistically, we're only reaping the rewards of all the work that we put in 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that is a huge misconception, especially when it comes to the creative field. Right. I feel like I've only recently found my style as a cinematographer. People are only reaching out to me in terms of now of what the commercial world looks like. And that took so many years of just trial and error, and then investing in myself and making those big risks. If I went the safe route, and I know that you guys heard this story so many times of continuing with engineering by going back to whatever job I was working before or pursuing my PhD, I took the risk of just going full-time into filmmaking, and it sucked, but it was very rewarding. And I'm at a place now where it's paying off, right? But if I didn't make those that big risk into another big risk, into another one, into another one, into another one, where I was constantly betting on myself, I wouldn't be sitting here in the position I am today.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that sometimes a single yes can also change the trajectory of your life,
Hmm.
and whether that's like who you collaborate with or who you've come into contact with that ends up giving you jobs. It's like as much as you want to be able to control all these things, you sort of can't. You kind of have to let the world kind of give you what it takes, and like what you give to it is your energy and your time. And so like how do you find that balance in all that? So that's number one, is obviously just giving yourself the shot first and the belief.
Yeah.
And it leads into the next one, which is really interesting, which is not following necessarily what your passion is in the beginning, and actually learning the skills first and letting that kind of dictate. And this is something that we learned very quickly for ourselves, because in the beginning, our entire early phase was the learning phase, which is
Yep.
let's just do everything possible. It did not matter the concept, the space, or time. And I can totally see it now and understand it, because if we had just picked one thing really early, hoping that we would jump straight to the top, like we just weren't ready for those moments yet. It's the skills lead you to
Focus
the
on the
passion.
skills, don't focus on the passion.
Yeah. Because passion, we would just been doing drone stuff, or like, cars, like, what were you actually passionate about before?
Yeah, when it comes to when I started this filmmaking, what I was passionate about, I feel like I didn't know.
Yeah, there was no passion.
I feel no, there was still a passion. I enjoyed the technical aspect of video work, but I couldn't get to where I wanted to be, which was creating that emotional whatever that you could pull out of cinematography or a video or anything like that. And I was chasing that, but I understood that early on, that I can't chase my passion, because that will just cloud things. And I know that feels a little bit confusing just based off the first thing that we talked
Yeah.
about, but taking risks. But I realized that was my passion. I wanted to create beautiful images that really evoked emotion just based off of that.
Yeah.
But then I'm realized of like, oh, I can't just chase after that blindly. There's a technical skill behind that. Lighting, camera movement, understanding so much more of what makes an image, rather than just showing up with a camera
Yeah.
and showing up in a location that will work, right? I've made those mistakes so many early on in my career. And then I realized very quickly that there's so many technical skills that I have to focus on before I can even consider myself a cinematographer. And that's what I did.
Yeah. It's become clear over the years, and how we build this stuff out is there's like very distinct levels of a filmmaking career that everyone has to go through. And it's always the same problems at every stage.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very clear to pinpoint those. And it's interesting as we talk about the passion side of things. I don't know. My first 3 years with you guys is like, I didn't even realize fashion was something that actually interested me. And more so in the sake of like the creative side is a little bit more fun and interesting, a little bit more exploratory. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I needed to reconnect with who I was afterwards, because I was like, wait, I've always been into this. I just shied away from it because I didn't feel like that was the place I needed to be in for whatever reason that was, right? But then we got to the place where we were started doing more of the addendum stuff, and I'm like, this starts to feel more aligned, and now the skill level also feels aligned at the right time as well. But before that, there was no like, hey, we need to hit this very specific thing.
It was just kind of try everything and build our
It was
technical
just try
knowledge.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the whole thing of like, you just got to put in your hours.
Yeah.
And like, we're going to go deep dive into that a little bit later as well. This is a weird one now that we just talked about these last two. It's about being more of a specialist, and like, focusing on one thing for now. I think there's a misconception, especially with our students too, that like, once you go deep into a niche, you'll never get out of it.
No.
That's literally the whole point of spec, right? And like, so you can just fully transition out of it. Because what happens is, think about all the people that have gone through wedding filmmaking. It's like most of those people have shifted out and now switched into something that they care about. Zach used to be the car guy, I used to be the barbershop dude. And like, we just don't even touch those things anymore, right? Like, I can't even fathom going back to shooting a barbershop video.
Yeah, and like I used to be known for shooting a lot of music videos as well.
Oh, yeah.
And now I wouldn't touch a music video.
Yeah.
Not because of like anything. It's just like
Now you hate them, yeah.
I don't like shooting music videos, and it's just like it doesn't fall in line with what I want to do as a cinematographer, right? And then when it comes to just this whole concept in general, that you have to niche down to something.
Yeah.
right? It's super important. You have to really get really good at that. And if it works for you, you can continue doing that. But if it doesn't work and you want to follow another path, do it again.
Yeah.
Make a spec into that place and start doing that. Hey, have you ever felt stuck as a videographer and want to push past the $2,500 to $5,000 projects and really start creating work that feels a lot more intentional? I feel like we did this with our business constantly with making spec work. And this is one of the most important things that we did that propelled ourselves as a production company. And that's why we created Cinematic Portfolio Mastery. This is a cohort-style course where we take you through the entire process on how to make a spec commercial for a whole 6 weeks. By the end of this 6 weeks, you will have a spec project for yourself that you can start marketing and push yourself where exactly you want to go in your filmmaking career. Check out the link in the description below to join the waitlist now. And then I feel like that's what we've done accidentally with our business. We're known for running.
Yeah.
Because we niche down into that.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And the right people come to us, the right amount of budget comes to us, like all these things. But then we also have like a fashion arm as well. And then now we get like inquiries about that and more projects through that lane. So really at the end of the day, you can go wherever you want. The cool thing is that as you start to work with more people, you can start to build out different avenues and lanes. The thing that's cool is as you start to see high-level DPs and directors, they have separate reels for different people.
Yeah.
Like when a company comes to them, it's like, oh, do you guys have anything car related? Oh yeah, here's my car reel, and they have like all separate work, even though it's not shown to the world all the time.
Yeah.
There's just like Zach has a whole different reel for different type of work that exists out there. So, it's like that's a big thing when it comes to being young. And like I'm saying, like we're not young, but when we were in in your 20s, it feels like the world locks you into one thing. It's like pick your path, and that's your path for the next 40 years or whatever. Like I know people that have switched. You hear about this all the time. It's like all these really big directors directed their first movies when they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they still blew up, and it was still great, right? And it's like I don't know. I feel like there's just this stigma that like you got to just lock in on one thing. I went through like 7 different businesses before I landed on video. And like people don't even know that. Like I sold stuff on eBay for like the longest time as well. And it's like it doesn't really affect me. I've taken my lessons, I've learned from it, but like that's cool stuff, right? Those are failures, quote unquote failures, but like I took away from that. Much like you took stuff away from the path of going to school. And it's like I didn't go that way, but like you still take different things from different things. And now we just mesh it all together. And that's kind of like who we are.
Yeah. And I feel like a really important thing is that you have to have the patience. And I feel like this is going to come up again a lot in this conversation of that you're not going to build it out over 6 months to a year to 2 years to maybe even 3. Because I look at my portfolio now, what my scope of work is, and then there's the narrative commercial side that's like fucking like it's like fast, flashy. That's like what like Tenfold is known for. And then there's the narrative commercial side, branded content that I do a lot. And then there's like the commercial side too that is very associated with a commercial look. And that took time and lots of specs to build out. But I'm not necessarily known for I don't know. I feel like I am.
Yeah, it's like fashion and sports,
I guess,
kind of thing.
and fashion, sports, and commercial.
Yeah, in the commercial look. Yeah,
and then those are like very different things, but they're all
still within the umbrella.
Under the umbrella of commercial, right? So,
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, in the beginning, you're everything, right? You're the cinematographer, director, script supervisor. It's brutal, right? Producer, like it just is awful. That's where we want to get you guys out of, because the faster you can get out of there, even if you don't feel 100% confident with it yet, that's totally fine. Right, like when I put director, when you put cinematographer, and we were still shooting like, recaps, we're like, okay,
gaffer / cinematographer plus key grip. I've been
editor,
there.
Yeah, you used to have an editor.
I'm like, oh
man, this is just like us trying to cope with ourselves, right? But then you do the work and you get the experience, and you're like, all right, it totally disappears. You're like,
I had the hardest time calling myself a director of photography.
Yeah.
For my first year of like maybe considering myself that, just because
you say it with a little cringe, or like
I was like, am I that? Because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, and then it's just like you've done so many things for the longest period of time, and then you have to bet and sit in that role and just do it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But it's nice when you just put it out there and long enough, it is who you are.
Yeah.
And then you totally forget about it. It's just this constant, middle phase where the first time you swap it, the first few months you just keep looking at it, right? But then it's like, just do the work instead of looking at it. Go prove to yourself that you're actually that person.
Yep.
Great. So the next one sounds kind of interesting and a little weird, but it's like, stop doing everything else and just focus on learning the skills faster, because it's so easy to distract yourself with watching YouTube videos and doing a bunch of other things. And the best time in our career has been when we were so busy that we had no time to do anything else. It literally felt like one project finishes, perfect timing, another project comes through, and now this one's large. How do we deal with this? And it was just this constant stage of like, oh wait, we don't have to overthink these things anymore. We just get to create and get better and like debrief, figure this stuff out, move on,
Yeah, if you're going to go full time into directing, cinematography, or whatever you want to be, you just do that. I know that feels weird to say, but if I wanted to be a director of photography and I was constantly gaffing and ACing, you have to start saying no to those jobs, which is gaffing and ACing, and start making work of your own, spec. But then, it's always the fear of like, oh, now I'm not going to get paid. Now I'm potentially burning a bridge. No, you just say like, hey, appreciate you reaching out for this anymore, but I am now not now a cinematographer, but this is the work that I'm doing. If you're interested, let me know in terms of if we can work something out like this, right? So as soon as you put yourself in that role and start saying no to the right things and start saying yes to the right things, I feel like that's exactly where you need to invest your time. And I feel like this is like the biggest advice that I've given to a lot of people, and especially Sophia, my partner, when she was going into cinematography specifically. And then she's like, I want to become a cinematographer. And I was just like, just do it then. Like, just say no to these jobs and start actually making something. And that's when she made her first spec. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. I find this with a lot of our students too in the community of like, they have all these things. And I'm like, okay, you have director, DP, colorist, drone up, right? I'm like, what do you want to be known for? Like pick one. And it's like, are you getting paid a lot? Like how many? And then I asked them like, okay, what's the split of like work and money that it's coming in? And it's like, okay, it's cool if drones bring in 15% of your income, but is that slowing down the exponential growth of everything else, but more specifically the one thing you want to do?
Of being like a cinematographer or even director.
Yeah, and that's the common thing that that's the phase, right? You go from videographer or video content creator, whatever it is, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to just say director, so I'm going to say everything.
Yeah.
And then now you're nothing to nobody.
Yeah,
right?
once you start putting, again, I know this was our last topic, but once you start putting those names associated with that, and it's like a mess, everybody's not going to not take you seriously, but they're like, what's this guy?
They don't know
what's this person good at.
Yeah, you got to think about the first impressions, right? We always talk about this. Someone lands on your page, they look at your work, and it's like, were you the colorist on this? Were you the editor on this? Were you like? And then they have to figure stuff out, and then they're gone, right? Like that's too much work for people. They want to make it super clear. Oh, you're a director. Oh, you're a DP. Great. I know how to speak to you. I know where you're located. I know all these basic level things. Don't make people's lives harder. Like you're not actually impressing someone by doing more stuff, right? Oftentimes it's doing less and being specialized. Back to that other point, be a specialist. So that's where we're going to go with this one. So the next one is a fun one because I think we live this one very deeply, is that the world of filmmaking really loves speed and being able to move fast, iterate fast, and more importantly, iterate faster than anyone else.
Yeah. This is a big one because we could talk about this in multiple ways in terms of how Tenfold grew and how we grew just as individual roles. But I want to start off with the triangle, or the everybody probably knows this in illustration. There's good, fast, and cheap. If you want something good but you want it fast, it's not going to be cheap. And if you want something fast and you want it cheap, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people get caught up, especially in the beginning of their career, whatever you want to do in this field, is that they hyper focus on it being as good as possible, right? The film industry moves fast. There's projects that we've been awarded like a week prior before it's supposed to go live.
Yeah.
And you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They know it's just going to be expensive and you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like the best skills that we learned were to move fast and make something that was good.
Yeah.
and figuring out how to do it cheap
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
right?
You can only hit like 80% of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at a certain point, we've learned to not take, we don't take anything to heart, to be honest with you. Like the number one thing that you're going to learn very early on is to drop the ego, especially when it comes to revisions, especially if you're the one taking on the edit for whatever reason.
Oh, I can
Totally
talk
understandable.
about that.
It's like, we've gone through this a million times. So go for it.
I feel like as an editor and cinematographer, especially early on, and then even just getting client revisions now, it's really easy to be like, well, that's stupid. I edited it like this because this is the best way to do it. And then you have an ego associated with it because you're so attached to the project and you have to detach yourself as an editor. And once I started doing that, the process was a lot easier. It's again, you're getting hired or you're being a collaborator for a job to make somebody's vision come to life.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily yours.
Yeah.
Right. And once you detach yourself from that, you just become, in terms of, again, you have to massage clients to the right direction in terms of like what works best. But sometimes they know best as well in terms of what works for their brand or anything like that. And it's so easy to get butthurt about client revisions. And it's just like, oh, no, I don't want to do that because this is stupid. And no, you just do it. That's it.
Yeah. That was like a very common early on thing because we thought we were the best creatives, much like everyone else, right?
No.
Like, and then you realize, yeah, like you said, they're overpaying you. They've been working on this probably for 6 months already. And so they clearly know closer to what the final is going to be. There's no point in making your life more difficult, their life more difficult. You want the process to be as smooth as possible for everyone you're working with. And then when we learn how to separate the two, it's like, oh, client work is client work. There's always a world for DCs and director's cuts and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, is this the right project for that? How much time do I want to spend? We only have a finite amount of time to spend in a day. Do you want to spend it angry and upset, or just make everyone happy and we move on? And when you learn that skill, this ego thing happens everywhere, right? It's like when you learn the skill to drop that, one common one too is, I don't want to work with another editor or any editor because they don't have my mental skills of how I would edit something. It's like,
No, you've just gotten comfortable in that lane.
yeah.
And the first time you work with somebody is going to be hard.
Exactly. But then even it's like some people just don't want to relinquish creative control. And that's a huge one for every videographer or any video professional starting in the beginning. It's like the faster you learn to collaborate with other people and learn to communicate and be, easy to work with, that's where money actually starts to show up. And people are surprised, like, oh, I just needed that to happen. And I'm like, yeah, because you think you're so sick in the beginning because you have a camera, but everyone has a camera. And so how do you separate yourself? You become a great team leader. You know how to work with people. And then you get to work on bigger sets because that's what clients expect, right? They don't expect to show up one person with a camera, setting up all the lights together. That's embarrassing. Unfortunately, I know this because we used to do it.
Yeah.
But then there's just certain levels of expectations. So as you guys continue to grow, just learn to drop the ego. That's probably what the real
I feel like
lesson
that's
is.
the real thing, especially in this creative industry, is like, hey, think of not necessarily yourself as an operator, but it's really hard, especially in the creative industry, just to detach yourself from things. Recently, I was working on a project, and then I saw the client cuts, and I was like, oh, that works for them. But for me, that's what I want to advertise in terms of color, what was intended for the creative and everything like that, I'm like, ugh, I need to rework this, and then you can just do a DC cut of anything you want.
Yeah.
And that works for you.
Yeah, just the pro tips for your future projects. So the next one is moving towards the uncomfortable. Oftentimes, the things that you avoid end up biting you in the ass because you avoided it.
Yep.
And if you just spent a little bit of time focusing, trusting it, doing the actual work instead of trying to avoid it, this happens at all stages, even to this day. You need to move towards that stuff and figure it out, because every time you don't, it just doesn't work out.
I feel like this is the biggest thing about just being self-aware, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then it's really easy to just go into your strengths and just keep working on those. But if you don't work on your weaknesses, they unfortunately get bigger.
Yeah.
And you just avoid things that you just need to work on. Right? This goes in business. This goes into being a cinematographer, director, or whatever. I feel like my biggest weakness, especially when being a cinematographer, was like I could easily communicate technically to anybody when it came to my crew and everything like that. But as soon as I have to communicate to talent, as soon as I have to communicate to client, that's when I'm like, Jason, go talk to them.
Yeah, and this is where the balance comes in, right? There's so many things that I rely on Zach for because he's much more organized, and then I'm like big vision. I'm like, I need someone to like put this together. But this kind of happens in all aspects, right? It's like the financial side of the work, not knowing like here's a big one too. It's like not knowing that there's a path, right? So like in the beginning, we just kind of like shot and prayed and hoped stuff made sense, and then we're like, oh wait, there's structure. There's filmmakers that have been doing this for years and years and years.
There's
and
people who've done this before.
they've mastered it, and we're like, they've mastered it with money as well, and that have been approved. And so I always say, you know, much like people like Russell Brunson says, funnel hacking. You go find what's already out there that's working, and then you just dissect it, go through it, and like that, there's your variation of it. We just have to do the same thing, right? Our version of it is reverse engineering what the pros do, what the next level people do. 10 people that are 10 steps ahead. Who are these people that have already been getting hired, that are already doing the work that you want to be doing? Like look upwards and not necessarily at the same level as you, because then you can make all the same mistakes. You want to look at the people that, okay, they're, you know, you have like the biggest DPs in the world working on commercials, and you're like, okay, cool. How are they taking what they're filmmaking, you know, making big movies and stuff? How are they translating that over? How do we, if we're ever in that position, how do we start to translate that stuff as well? Yeah. So like, you don't really need to start from scratch in most cases for anything you do. There's already someone that's been out there doing it, that has mastered it, and you know, you can skip all the missteps as well.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to, when it comes to your weaknesses, figure everything out yourself. There's already somebody out there who's done it, especially in this age when it comes to technology. Don't burn yourself out trying to work on things that have already been done. Just look at that, do your research in terms of that, and then see how you can really optimize that.
Yeah, you made a good point of like, it's so easy to fall into your strengths and just keep doing that and like hoping that the weakness isn't going to catch up to you somewhere.
Oh, then it does.
And then it does so badly. And you're like,
worse.
I should have just told someone to deal with that or handle that while I was trying to focus on the strengths. But that's a very big one for all of us. You're going to find your variation of that. I think it's kind of vague at some points, but at the same time, you know, whether you're into cameras, into, you know, being more technical, you're really good at selling or whatever, find the people that fix your weaknesses, right? This next one's a huge one because I think we all have different stories and it's really fun to get into. It's like not relying or focusing and feeling like your life story is the thing that's holding you back.
Or making your life story define you.
Yeah. Because you can really go in any direction you want in your life, right? Much like Zach has chosen and has told his story many times. Same for myself. It's like, just because you didn't go to film school or I didn't go to film school, it doesn't hold us back from shooting commercials to this day, you know? And like, same thing goes for like, you know, equipment. It's like, the more constraints you have, I find is actually the better thing in your life. I found all of our best work happened when things were tight and tough and we had short timelines.
You got to figure it out.
And you got to figure it out. Yeah. And then when it's the flip side, it's like you have unlimited time and you're like, oh, let's go work on something interesting. And you're like, you know, like I find even for my specs, when I know I have a deadline coming up for it, it's like, oh, my brain snaps into action. I'm like, oh, we got to get this done. We got to actually work on this.
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing when it comes to this topic, especially when I just want to backtrack a little bit about not letting your life story define you. If I just turned 30 this year, and obviously this is not foreshadowing anything, obviously knock on wood, if something happened and I just wanted to become a baker, like I'm not letting my past define me. If that's what I want to do, I'm just going to go become a baker. Right?
That's crazy.
I'm just saying, if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yeah, of course. You can do anything.
Right? And then when it came to myself, it's just like I had
everything.
If we talk about like right after high school, I had 1, 2, 3 years and then internship, then another year, and then another 2 years into engineering. I didn't let 7 years of my life define what I was going to do after that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the biggest story. And probably you guys are sick of hearing this, but a lot of people ask me of like, oh, do you feel like you wasted that time? I'm like, no, it's benefited to everything that I do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Like I've adapted that whole lifestyle and what I've learned from that and what I enjoy from those things to the things that I enjoy in filmmaking. Yeah. I feel like I merged those two stories together, and that's what perfectly works for me. There's 3D printers running in the background right now when I was playing with a laser engraver the other day. So I didn't let my past define me. And I feel like that's super hard to do because it's like the sunken cost fallacy,
Yeah.
right? It's just like, oh, I've invested so much time in this. I'm just going to keep going. And then I wake up and I'm 40 and I hate my job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think a lot of people realize that the hard moments are probably going to be the most rewarding ones,
100%.
because clearly you're already like heading there. If it's already so deeply ingrained in your life or whatever it is, like some of the biggest and hardest moments for me was like completely switching out and trying something and jumping for it, hoping that the other side is something better. And I'm totally happy with all the failures and the other failed businesses and starting from scratch over and over and over again, because I got to this place where it finally clicked and it made sense. And I just took everything I've learned from the past, brought it back over here, and I made those decisions actually help me instead of kind of like hinder what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a big thing for everyone. Regardless of where you're at, you're never stuck in wherever you're doing. You're probably young, 22, 23, maybe you're 35, 30, like it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? Like you're literally just starting out. You could change your whole life in a year. I've seen people do it. It's crazy. Like
Do it in
just
6 months.
gotta lock in, you
Yeah.
know, and you just gotta trust yourself that you're like, I might as well try and make it hard for myself. But what's the other option? The thing that you hated? You could do that your whole life if you want
Yeah,
to.
and I've seen it happen because I feel like as kids we are a bit naive, especially when I was in engineering school, and then I was 18 at the time. Then you see people who are 30, 40 taking the same courses that you are, and then you're like, oh my God, I hope I don't end up in that situation. But I look back on it and I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I could ever say. Because it's just like that person probably decided to do something that they wanted to do to change their life.
Yeah.
Why makes fun of somebody for choosing a higher education?
Yeah.
Even that later on in your life, because that is so hard to do.
Yeah. It's even harder.
It's
You have,
even it's
real
beyond
responsibilities.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
responsibilities and everything on, but that person is deciding to change their life to pursue something completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Just
you never
gotta
know.
make the choice.
You gotta make the choice, and you can do it.
Yeah. Dope. So the next one is you gotta love the game. You gotta you gotta really be into this and obsess over this, because even if it's not a huge obsession right now, you better learn to like find something to obsess about within it,
Mhm.
because it's not the easiest career choice.
No.
It's like you gotta like find out how to actually do it all, because as much as it is being a creative, I think there's so easy to have the starving artist approach to being a creative. Like, oh, I'm all art first. I'm all creative first.
Yeah.
You're just not. That's not the realism of like what business we're in.
Yeah, I feel like I want to talk about being a cinematographer right now, and I feel like a lot of people get, wooed into this because they think that they'll be on a camera all the time creating beautiful images, and it's like 90% creative, 10% of whatever. But I feel like it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's 90% of stuff that you aren't going to necessarily enjoy
Or show the world.
or show the world at all, and there's the 10% of it that you're going to be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Like we enjoy the 5 a.m. wake up calls because we're like, we finally get to go shoot, right? Like that's actually, some people are like, oh, you got to wake up at 5. I'm like, I'm kind of amped, yo. Because I've been building up to this for like 2 months. But then at the same time, it's, you just got to you just got to fall in love with it, because it can always change on you at any direction. I always say this too. There's probably people like, oh, what's going on with what do you think about AI and all this stuff? And I'm like, man, you don't understand how deep we are into everything else, that we are clearly aware of it and what it's doing and for the industry and against the industry, whatever it is. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to pivot when we need to pivot. But at the same time, it's like, things are working. We're still working. I think there's always going to be work coming into this space, because I hope someone doesn't AI me. And then, it starts to go into this deep rabbit hole. But at the same time, it's like, we're still working right now. People still need to have jobs. Advertising agencies still exist. Companies still exist where they need to show people. How are you going to do a whole documentary on someone's story when that story is not real?
Yeah.
And so, like, as much as it is, don't obsess over the wrong thing, right? It's like, you can sit there and just freak out about AI forever, or you can embrace it, put it towards your work, and then we just lock in and do more work.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, because I feel and I see a lot of people, say the reason they're not working is because there's not work. And I'm sorry, you're not passionate enough for this. Like filmmaking, any creative industry, it takes a special breed of people to do it.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you guys are in it, if you're watching the podcast, hats off to you, because we all know what this lifestyle is like. It's not like
Rainbow
it's not rainbows, it's
butterflies.
not flowers, it's all like not on set all the time. It's the hours that really happen in the late nights, early mornings, constant back and forth, not even knowing if you're going to get work the next month. It's constantly do that, because you get questions from a lot of people of like, oh, like, how are you so busy? Why are you getting hired so much? Blah, 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 blah. Because I keep myself busy because I'm passionate about this. And I'm passionate about the things that suck about this as well.
Yeah.
And you got to be.
Yeah, that's just the game, and it's like it's never changed in the last 5 years.
No.
Like it's just different variations of it, and we evolve to different levels. And so like everyone we work, like all of our CPM students, like still doing work regardless of if we existed or not.
Mhm.
And so I like to think about it that way too. It's so easy to think about yourself all the time, and then you're like, oh, how's that person getting a job? Or like when you're just constantly online and you see everyone posting stuff, and you're like, that's a bad place to think about if you have a scarcity mindset in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you first started out and you see everyone else working, you're like, oh my god.
And I feel
I'm
like
done.
I feel like I did that a lot. And now when it comes to like social media and stuff like that, I'm barely on it anymore, just because I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's not, it's like I believe social media is an amazing tool and it's very beneficial, but it's also very dangerous.
100%.
And that's why, if like, I don't want to say, oh, like grind in the dark and just do your own thing and post whenever that. There is a very good aspect around it, but you have to limit yourself in terms of all that exposure to all that work that is out there,
Yeah.
because it can just absolutely kill what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Like if you're just in the wrong mindset and you're on socials, it could be a bad time.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're like, I'm in the mood to find references and inspiration, then
That's
it's
when
like the
it's
best. Then it's great.
That's
'Cause
an
you're like-
amazing tool.
Yeah. And so it's just being careful with like what you're obsessing your time around.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to do a rabbit hole into the wrong thing, and suddenly you're 2 weeks out of something and you're like, I didn't touch this at all, or I didn't do this project, and then you're like, where did all my time go? I'm like, you guys got to just lock in sometimes, and it's very hard even for us to this day.
It's like the fifth time you said that, guys. You just gotta lock it.
It's true though. Like oftentimes when you're just not doing the stuff, it just leads down the wrong path, because you're like, the one thing you need to do and focus on, which we'll get down to later, is like you just got to focus sometimes. It's going to suck. There's times where we've had to run like 16-hour days back to back to back to back. You know, it's like, fortunately, that's where we're at that certain moment. But then you have different phases, and it elevates and goes up and down, and it's a bit of a roller coaster sometimes.
That's the film industry.
And that's the industry, right? So as much as we look at places like LA and Hollywood and everyone's saying, you know, it's dying, it's dead, but you have people like the creator camps and people like revitalizing this new space and making it fun and interesting, and like starting their own film festivals, keeping things interesting. We're always starting like our community and getting more people into the spec world community of like, you know, commercial work. It's like there's always spaces that exist. And the thing too is we still always get inquiries for work. And so there's clearly still work going out there. You just have to find the spot that exists for you.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get strong enough and good enough and show up to the right people. And there's work for everyone. Like we were just talking to Casey today. I'm like, one of our students is like, he's doing work still.
Yeah, he's busy.
He's busy, and he's doing other spec projects too at the same time. And I'm like, to have the energy to do all that, to continue pushing, it just means like you just gotta be obsessed. So next one, and something that, you know, I think a lot of people try to stray away from is it kind of leads into the last one too. It's working hard but working smart at the same time.
Oof.
And you know, sometimes you can lean one way more than the other. Sometimes it just feels like hard work all the time, but you realize that you're not optimizing for the best thing in your career, right? So
yeah, I feel like I can touch on this when we talked about the cinematography and editing. If I wanted to be an editor and I was constantly shooting my own stuff and editing, I am spending the wrong time in terms of focusing on cinematography. That's not working smart if I want to be an editor. And the same thing is, I did that with my cinematography, and editing is like, yeah, we had to edit a lot of our own projects when we started. That's just the name of the game. That's what you got to do. But then there came to a point of like, I can't just have that attitude of like, oh, I'm just going to take on the edit just because I know what I shot. It's going to be faster, blah, 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 blah. I can't trust anybody, can't rely on anybody. There's a huge ego attached to that. And I was working and spending hard energy into the wrong place, and I wasn't working smart. As soon as I had that mindset shift change, and then we did that as a business of like, cinematographer, we're going to outsource our editing. That is working smart, because then it opened up so many things. I could be working on multiple projects. I wasn't locked into a post schedule for 2 months. Sometimes that still happens because we still have to do that, whatever. But that just opened up so many doors and opportunities besides cinematography. It opened up the education, more YouTube output, more social output, more business output. And that just allowed us to work a lot smarter.
Yeah, I think that's you brought this up earlier of people asking us like, how do you guys do so much? And I'm like, it wasn't always like this. But even when we there were just the four of us, like it was our goal almost to try to put out as much stuff as possible. Like we needed to show up, we needed to put out and output stuff and work in general. And then we just had to find better systems for it. Because every time we got stuck at a certain place, it was either because we weren't focusing on it or we weren't even thinking about it. Because we were like, oh, we need to post more stuff on socials. But no one's thinking about it. So that's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then all it took was, Zach, let's just sit down for 5 minutes and let's get this out.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, cool. We got that out in like 5-10 minutes. It was probably more like a day. But I wasn't doing anything. Zach was doing it all. And then once we put it out, we're like,
pointed me in the right direction.
It's directionality, but also like, you know, trusting that yourself that like this is the right thing to do at this right time. And so you have to be both super self-aware of how you're spending your time in your day to day. And there's always this thing where like, if you just recorded what you were actually doing in a day for a few days,
and you watch yourself, and you're going to be like,
you've wasted. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so easy to, I'm just going to jump on my phone 15 minutes and then suddenly an hour's gone. I used to do this all the time, unfortunately, where I struggle to really get into deep work. And then I'll get to the end of the day and I would spiral because I'm like, oh my God.
If I look back on my day, what did I do?
And I would tell myself in the morning, there's no way I'm doing this tomorrow again. And then you would just fall in the same cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I know this stuff happens to so many people. And it's one of the hardest things to get over because it's like your brain just wants to procrastinate in some form of way. And you really need to have the work ethic or figure something out for yourself that gets you back into that mode to like do the work, because it's not easy work and it's tedious, but also in some cases work smart. Are you going to be the editor forever? No, it's not smart for the business.
No,
so you just want to work on this thing that is actually going to push you forward and the thing that you want to focus on. So
yeah. And I feel like even talking about what you said in the last thing, like we are in our 30s now, there's a lot more responsibilities that we have in terms of just our life and just maintaining a proper work-life balance as well. And I feel like I am every day optimizing my day as much as possible, and I'm not trying to waste a minute on anything and wasting time, because I feel like that's a big thing, right? What if you put a camera up that was following you all day and you rewatch that and it summarized your day, how are you going to feel at the end of the day?
Will you be embarrassed at how much time you spent?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm so rewarded after a productive day, even though it's tough. Yeah. It's very tough. Even if for the whole lifestyle aspect of waking up early to go to the gym. I just recently got a dog, taking care of that, working, coming home, and even working more, prepping yourself a proper meal, then spending time with your significant other, then making sure the dog is trained as well. Like there's so many things that come after that, but at the end of the day, you can look back at your day and be like, yeah,
finish the one thing I needed to do. And oftentimes, like as a entrepreneur, business owner, you kind of just need to do one thing.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's going to push your business forward. And this actually goes over to the last point, which is a big one, is that you have to accept that there's going to be a lot of sacrifices, an insane amount of sacrifice that you guys are going to have to take. And oftentimes they are going to come at the expense of your significant others, your family, your careers, whatever it is, because that's just what it is. Sometimes you don't sleep. Sometimes you don't get to enjoy the vacations. It's part of the life.
Now, we want to encourage a healthy balance between everything, but there are going to be a lot of things that you might necessarily have to sacrifice. And I feel like that this is a constant thing. If you're going to own a business, you have to, right?
Yeah.
You're not
It's
working.
24/7.
You're not working a 9 to 5. You're working 24/7, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right. And then, we're working this hard. So, in the future that we can, pass it on to somebody else and see what that potentially looks like. Right. But there are going to be a lot of sacrifices that you're going to do. And I feel like we could talk about this at a project level, of owning a business level, of
Yeah. Just
whatever.
life level.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cool thing is that what you're trading off with the sacrifice is the ability to do the thing that you love at scale.
Yeah.
And continue to do that stuff. And so the energy that we're putting in here, what other option is there? Am I going to go back to an office job and sit down? I could just never do that regardless. And so all the skills that we've already learned through the sacrifice, it's so transferable to everything else. So I'd rather, in some ways, take all the hits now, learn everything, grow from it. And then I don't mind, I'm okay looking back and being like, I spent a lot of time at work, and I'm okay that the life balance is not that great right now. That's totally okay, because I actually enjoy. It's one of those times people are like, oh, you hate it when you have to do so much. I'm like, no, I actually prefer it. Like, if I wasn't doing this, I would just be sitting at home doing nothing, brain rotting. And I'm like, or I could just keep moving the business forward. And to me, that's fun. Maybe it's different for some people else, but back to the whole obsession thing, I'm kind of obsessed to make sure that we continue growing in the long run.
Yeah. And I feel like that when it comes to running your own business and everything like that, that's a fast track to life that you want. That's the whole idea of running a business.
Yeah.
So you can make your own money, make your own time, make your own decisions and something like that. But it's going to take a lot of upfront investment.
Yeah.
And that's the sacrifices that you're going to make.
Yeah. And so this could have sounded pretty gloomy in terms of what we were talking about.
Gloom and doom right now.
Yeah. But on the other side of this is a lot of fun, a lot of crazy adventures and stories that I don't think we would ever have doing any other type of job. The places we've gone, shot, random stuff, staying overnight, doing shoots. It's all really fun stuff. And it always keeps us on our toes, and it's always something different. And at the end of the day, we get to practice something that's creative. And I think, as all creatives want, that's the end goal.
It's funny what you said in terms of all the experiences that we've had with these projects that were kind of casual to us. It's whatever, it's just a job. But we met the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
And shot a campaign for
Usain Bolt on a project.
Yeah. You say, I totally forgot
bunch
about
of basketball
that.
players, athlete, Mitch Marner.
Yeah. I was, you get behind the scenes. I remember we traveled the whole East Coast for a project, and it was just chill.
I worked with
fun.
the F1 guys, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, huge. This is crazy stuff.
Yeah. And then even when I catch up with some of my friends, one of them, his name is Alex, he's a lawyer. And then he says every time, Zachary, tell me about work. What's going on? Your job, you have a sexy job. And it is.
Yeah, and you forget about that.
And you forget about it because you're in it. Right? And that's the reward of these experiences are very fantastic, actually.
Yeah. Very fantastic. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is filmmaking 101. It's not easy. It's not always fun and pretty, but I wouldn't really trade it for anything else, because I think there's always what we're doing now with the education side of things is so different from the stuff we were doing purely 3 years ago, because we had no education arm whatsoever.
No.
And we had no YouTube. We had nothing besides doing productions. And as much as fun as that was, it's naturally, I think both of us always wanted to just talk about the stuff that we were doing too.
Yeah.
And find ways to educate.
Yeah, it was always I started the YouTube channel when it was just me, about documenting my process, because I thought that was just really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really care what came out of it. I was just I feel like I'm learning a lot here. I'm making a lot of mistakes, and I'm cool to put that out in the world.
Yeah.
And then it became into this whole education thing that I'm even more passionate about, that is just pretty cool.
Yeah. And so that all leads to our community. We're trying to find more ways to connect with you guys. And whether that's in person, online, or whatever it is, we want to do workshops in the future.
Oh, 100%.
We actually have a lot of people in Toronto too, which is really dope.
Yeah. It's funny because sometimes we're on set, people do recognize us.
Oh yeah. My favorite thing is when people see Zach on the street, Tenfold, you're Zachary guy. And then we just laugh our asses off, because that's the best thing ever.
And then it's me not knowing how to socially interact with them, because you guys have been watching the channel for so long, so you know exactly who we are, who I am. And I'm just hi.
Oh, hi. So yeah,
I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Outdoors, say hi to him. Freak him out.
Freak him out.
It's our
Dab
favorite
me
thing.
up. Whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, this is, it's all fun and games. We love this space and industry. We hope you guys love it too, because obviously we want you guys to grow with us.
100%.
We want you guys to do more projects, do more spec work, do whatever it is that makes you happy, really. And then yeah, keep coming back because we love talking about it.
Yeah, ultimately, we want you guys to be amped when
Yeah.
you listen to these podcasts in terms of like the stuff that we've learned, the stuff that we're excited about, and yeah,
It's
just
just our life experience, you know? Like, you guys have been downloading a bunch of our podcasts, which is awesome. We appreciate it.
thank you.
Share it with people that you think might enjoy this. Let people know about this podcast. We don't really advertise this that much. Some people don't even know we have a production company. They only think of us as like a podcaster.
It's so funny because we have people who just think we do the podcast, people who just think it's me, people who just know us as a production.
Yeah,
There's so many
it's so
things.
random. So if you follow us on this podcast and you've gotten this far, drop the word. What's the word, Zach?
Ooh, can I make the word?
Yeah, make the word.
Zeiss.
Oh shoot, that's a hard one to spell. If you guys can write Zeiss in the comments, we'll know you're a real one.
Z-I-E-S-S.
Yeah, Zeiss.
Oh.
Zach's not the speller in the group.
Shit. Okay, let's do
But
that
yeah,
again.
drop that one. It's totally fine. You can Google it. But yeah, if you made this far, thank you guys. We really always appreciate it. We know these are longer ones. We hope you're watching this wherever it is on YouTube. But yeah, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next one. See you.
Peace.